Hey family, so here I am. It's We have started our Prevailing Life and Ministry program. Obviously, we've been talking about it on Facebook and everywhere else, and just want to drop a couple of nuggets pertaining specifically to radical prayers, radical results, because the book we're working on now, the segment in the Prevailing Life and Ministry program, is the segment on praying. Radical Prayers, Radical Results is my book. It has helped a lot of people around the world. I'm hoping that you can pick it up and join us. But I want to leave you with some thoughts, okay? Why exactly we call it Radical Prayers, Radical Results, and why praying is so powerful, such a powerful component of the Prevailing Life and Ministry program. Number one, the book itself is based on it's actually founded on the testimony of how my wife basically prayed for our marriage to be restored 5 years after I had left her and the children. Okay. And of course, she prayed for my salvation as well. When I started writing that book, it was supposed to be a book on my marriage testimony, but I quickly found that really it was a book on prayer. So it became Radical Prayers, Radical Results. And in the spirit of Radical Prayers, Radical Results, we have seen such tremendous breakthroughs in our lives, Naomi and I. And I want to leave you some nuggets why I believe that actually happens. All right. Let me sit down and I can talk to you just for a few minutes. Now, number one, in talking about radical prayers, radical results, the God that we serve, He is almighty. He is powerful. Nothing surprises Him. Nothing is too big for Him. So many Christians live their lives in fear. Some people actually, they actually say, they don't ask God for much. And the thinking really is that they think that maybe because He's giving to other people, He might not have enough for them. It is absolutely ridiculous. So I figured, listen, before I came into relationship with God, I was an atheist. I was an enemy of God, chief enemy of God. And I said, to serve someone that is supposed to be the creator of the world, He had to be mighty and powerful. And so this is how I came into relationship with Him. So praying radical prayers, it doesn't scare me. I'm just going to share a few of them with you, and I'm going to encourage you. If you want to know more, then join the Prevailing Life and Ministry program that we have running. This time around, we're doing it absolutely free. So there is absolutely no reason for anyone not to attend. I encourage you to buy the books because it will help you. We're not trying to sell you a book. It will help you really get all that you need to get out of the program. So radical prayer, number one, that your brother Sam Teeter prays, okay? I pray often that God will send me people that need money. Now, that is a radical prayer. It is crazy. And I say it out there. I know a lot of people don't want to say something like that in public because next thing you know, everybody's asking you for money. I don't care. I say it with boldness because I know that if God is going to send you to come and get money from me, He's going to talk to me first about it. And He's going to deposit that money in my pocket so that I can give it to you. The trick is when the money comes into my pocket, I have to make sure that I give it out. I don't keep it in. I want to make sure that I'm like a river that is flowing and it is constantly clean and God can use me. He can depend on me. This is why I do it. Okay. Because if I start hoarding what He gives me, guess what happens? It's like a pond of water that is contaminated. Nobody wants to have anything to do with it, and definitely not God. All right. So radical prayers, it has given us such radical results because guess what? I take a cup of coffee, at least 2 cups of coffee every day. But guess who tastes my coffee before I do? It is the cup that the coffee goes into. That cup always enjoys the coffee before I do. It knows that the coffee is not, it belongs to me. But guess who gets to taste it first? The cup does. So I am just a conduit that God can use. But by virtue of my obedience and the fact that my Father can trust me with much, all right, I get to be a funnel that gets to bless other people. But in the process, some of it stays back with me. You know what I mean? It is crazy, but listen, you got to try it and mean it. Now, that's a radical prayer. I want to give you radical prayers number 2. Radical prayer number 2, this one is going to knock you off your seat. All right? Radical prayer number 2, I say to God, actually, when I got saved and got into ministry, I prayed this prayer. I said, God, make me rich outside of ministry so that when I start ministering, I can do so with boldness. I don't have to be afraid that people will not give me donations. I don't have to worry that they're not going to buy my books. I just have to speak the truth as you have revealed it to me in your word and in revelation and in our time together. And I will speak the truth with all boldness. I touch topics. I deal with topics in our ministry that most people would not even dare come close to. But I can do so because it seems like my Father loved my prayer. He did what I asked him to do, and that's why we can do the work that we do with such efficiency and with such boldness. That was radical prayer number 2. God, make me rich outside of ministry so that I can do your work with boldness, without fear. I don't have to give false prophecies that God asked me to ask you to give me $1,000 here and $500 there and to buy this cloth and to buy this thing. I don't have to do any of that stuff because God takes care of me. He answers the prayers of his children. And I will give you radical prayer number 3. Now, radical prayer number 3 has to do with, you see, before I get there, let me tell you this thing. Let me tell you this. You have to trust God, okay? You have to trust God. You have to understand what he says in his word. 1 John chapter 5, verses, 1 John 5:14. God says, the confidence we have in approaching him and asking him for anything according to his word is that he hears us. And because we know that he hears us, we know that we have what we've asked of him. So radical prayer number 3. I prayed this prayer and then it took me some time to actually mention it because I thought, oh my gosh, people are going to criticize me. They're going to say, ask me, who do you think you are? I prayed this prayer, and it has worked. I said, God, give me revelation. Revelation that you did not give to Moses, you did not give to Abraham, you did not give to David, you did not give to Paul, you didn't give to Peter. Give me revelation that I can share with this world, that I can share with your people. I can point them to you. I can show them your grace and your awesomeness. Give me revelation and wisdom like you've not given anybody else. Give me the zeal to want to preach it and the grace to carry it. And listen to me, my brother, my sister. God must like that prayer too, because I'll tell you this. I have been saved 16 years. I have sat under some great ministries. But I can tell you this with absolute humility, but with absolute confidence and boldness. You see, I use the word absolute a lot. I can tell you this, though, confidently, that when I teach, it doesn't matter how long you've been in ministry, you have to sit down and you must take notes. And this can happen to anyone. It's not because I'm anyone special. It can happen to anyone because no one person has the capacity to carry everything that God has to offer. So he distributes it in little chunks to different people. But you have to be ready for it. You have to ask him for it. You have to want to do it. Well, listen, I know him, and I was confident that he would honor that prayer. I read books that I wrote, and they fall out of my hands because I cannot imagine that the kind of information that is in there could have come from me. It could have come through me, all right? I promise you, if you are able to pray these kinds of radical prayers, God honors the prayers of his children. As long as you act as a conduit and you do what you're asking him to help you do, to enable you do, I'm telling you now, that it's going to happen. Listen, join our Prevalent Life and Ministry program. Get on Eventbrite. The link will be either on top of this video or below. Click register, absolutely free. Join us in class and let your 2023 be a year like none you've had before. We love you. God bless you. See you soon.